Well, well. If I told you like in May that the Steelers would beat the Bengals and put up 44 in them, you'd probably have me checked into a mental institution or something like that. Uh, I'm still in shock at the as what happened. Before the game, how did you think it was going to go? Did you think it would be a shootout, or how did you think it was going to go?
I kind of thought that it did. I mean, the Bengals have been putting up numbers every week, right? They've been very good. Joe Burrow is a sensational quarterback. He is probably, arguably, maybe the two best receivers in the NFL. A pretty good running back. Line's not bad, so you knew they were going to put up points. Just how bad was their defense going to be? And we end up with 44-38. I think I would have been more shocked had they found a way to lose that game and put up 44 points, right? And lost by, 45, 44 or something. But it was insane. And that's the thing with the Steelers right now, Joe, is where's the defense gone? Um, I know the Bengals, we knew the Bengals were going to put up, I would say, I thought they're going to put anywhere up from 28 to 31 points. You figure one of those 8 points, 7 of them was a pick six, so I think it was right where I thought it would be. And their offense is that good, but their defense is so bad that, made a good day for the Steelers. I mean, we haven't seen those numbers since like the, 20 teens,
Yeah.
with Russell throwing for over 400 yards, all the first downs. Najee Harris had a great game, so I mean, they had over, 110 yards rushing as a team. It did not bad. Not bad.
I was very worried about this game, mostly because this was the Bengals' final stand. Like they were 4-7. I could see a scenario where they win six in a row and make the playoffs. So this is an absolute must-win game, and I thought they would be desperate. Um, but you just can't discount how terrible the Bengals defense is. It
No,
is
it's that bad. It's
unbelievable.
epically bad. I mean, it's to the point where in a draft, I don't know how they can't go defense, defense, defense because or make some play this offseason to get some defense. And um, who knows? They're a very interesting team this offseason. They're probably losing a couple of big name guys. You got to understand, is that going to make Joe Burrow happy? Is he going to be pissed? I don't know. You just don't know. So they're a team that's in kind of a world of hurt right now, and a lot of things worked out for the Steelers Sunday, Joe. We get that win. Baltimore loses to Philly. And, here we are sitting at the top of the AFC North, with 3 games left to play in the division. And I'd have to say, I think we could win Sunday. I think we could beat the Bengals again, although I think it may end up being like this. I mean, they're just that good, but the penalties killed us too, Joe.
Oh God. Yeah,
Yeah.
the penalties.
But yeah,
Uh,
so I wasn't shocked by the score. Um, they outscored them 20-7 in the second quarter. And I turned to my dad and I said, "We've seen games before where the Steelers won 20-7 over Cincinnati." You know, it was the second quarter.
the over under, I believe, was like 47 or something like that. They hit the over before the halftime.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it was 27-21.
Um,
I mean,
uh, yeah, yeah. I am not surprised the Bengals put up a lot of points. I am surprised the Steelers matched them and went toe to toe and wanted a shootout. That's what And as for, what does it say about the Steelers defense that they gave up so many points? It's the Bengals. They have a good offense. What does it say about the Steelers that they scored so many points? It's the Bengals. They have a lousy defense. Like I think it's just an anomaly. They beat the Ravens by scoring no touchdowns, and then they score what 5 touchdowns in this game. So it doesn't it defies logic. But I think it says a lot that they were able to go toe to toe with a high scoring offense and go high scoring right with them.
It does. It does, and they need to do that. Like we did say, I think in the last podcast we had, we said that they can't kick 5 field goals in this game or 8 field goals or whatever it's going to be, and expect to beat the Bengals. And sure enough, they showed up and they did well. And yeah, I mean, I think it's indicative of how bad the Bengals defense is, but the Steelers offense does keep churning along. Now, if we can see this kind of output where they put up, I'm saying 28-31 against the Browns, which they should be able to. We'll see what the weather's like. I don't know. George Pickens. I know snow's so hard to play in; it's impossible. By the way, did you watch the Bills? Did you watch the Bills game last night? Because they love the snow. That was just insane. So yeah, that's the thing, Joe. And I think that's what we've always been waiting for. Last 2 years, the offensive has just not been able to put up over 20 points a game, and the defense has been fine. But now, last couple weeks, the defense has been a little shaky at best, and the offense has been starting to put things together. So I don't know. They're 9-3. They're definitely one of the better teams in the AFC. They're playoff bound, most likely. Tomlin's got his 18th winning season. I think you put something on Twitter about you have to give him credit. You do. I think it goes back to putting Russell Wilson in over Justin Fields. A lot of people gave him crap for it. I liked it. I think he did well. And it's been good coaching from him.
He made a gamble and it paid off. And uh there's been two games that kind of defined this season. One of them was the win over the Ravens, and one of them is this win. They could have easily lost either game. And I think in previous seasons they do lose games like that. And then instead of being 9-3, they're 7-5 and barely hoping to make the playoffs, just like every other year.
Right,
I
where
don't
you're relying on, like, the last 2 weekends. Well, this team's gotta lose, and this team's gotta win, and this team's
right,
gotta tie,
right. So
Um,
yeah.
yeah, no, so, that's the thing. I think they're very much in control of their own destiny right now. We still have that part of the schedule. We've been talking about this for months coming up, and I don't care how good the Steelers are. I think the Eagles might be the best team in football right now. The Eagles are just world beaters. I think they lose to the Eagles unless I don't know. I guess you could argue the Eagles probably haven't seen a defense as good as the Steelers, but the Ravens were pretty good defensively. They're similar to us. So, and they still really took it to them. And the Eagles are a very, very good fourth quarter team. Um, so they're going to need to play 4 quarters, Joe, in order to have a chance of beating them. Ravens always a chance. No, we could be we could be 3-9, have a good chance against the Ravens,
Right,
and then
right.
you got the Chiefs on Christmas Day, which who knows? It's Christmas Day, Joe. That could go any which way.
Yeah. And then home to the Bengals, and that's basically a guaranteed win now because they have nothing to play for. They're gonna be playing
Right.
Boomer Esiason's grandson or whatever. I don't know. I don't know who they're gonna play, but about next week, home to the Browns, that is a guaranteed win. I I'll stake it. I'll say bet whatever you want, and if you lose, I will pay for it. I have my fingers crossed behind my back. I
Right.
don't really mean that, but no, I am so sure that the Steelers are going to win that game for so many reasons. I think the weather is going to be okay. I just looked at the forecast and it seems it's just going to be like sunny and cold. But
Yes.
after all the shenanigans of the last game against the Browns, all the Miles Garrett stuff, all the snow game, all the stuff. The Steelers are going to want to lay the smack down on all their candy asses. Oh my God. It's going to be the beatdown of the year. It's actually going to be a comfortable lead. I think we will actually have the unbelievable 2 or 3 score lead going into the fourth quarter.
I think the one thing that the Steelers may do on that is Jameis Winston's second time around. I feel like he's going to throw the ball a few picks. I would agree. I could see us winning, scoring on those turnovers and stuff like that. So that's a big part of it. I think they could win too. I think a few things. One, this crap with Pickens and these penalties has got to stop. He gave them billboard material. Never underestimate that. You know,
Right.
I guarantee you they are playing that video all week or whatever, some form, whether it's in a meeting or in a stadium, I don't know. Um, and it'll be very easy. Everyone knows now. There's no secret. You can get under that kid's collar real easy.
Um, it's so bad that even Tomlin publicly is saying that dude gotta grow up. And could you imagine the things that they've been trying to say to him, behind closed doors? Even for him to even publicly say something like you gotta grow up, that's that's huge. But I just can't believe someone is that stupid. I just can't. It's just unbelievable.
It's
I don't know.
I thought the one thing I saw so many people tweeting about it, the common denominator was adolescent, 6-year-old, 4-year-old. I mean, to punt the ball out of stands and then to do the gun thing into the stands, which they threw a flag on that. I mean, I don't know. But still, I just said, look, here's what you do. You throw, you catch the ball, you run with the ball, if you can, you score with the ball, and then you give the ball to the freaking referee, and that's it. That's all you got to do. I don't know where the hell this comes from. I mean, it's like look at Larry Fitzgerald. He's going to the Hall of Fame, one of the greatest receivers ever. He never did that crap. Torrey Holt never did that shit. Excuse me. Hines was spicy, but he never did that kind of stuff. You know,
Antonio Brown never did that kind of stuff. He took his crazy off the field. He did his crazy behind closed or on the sideline or something like that, but he never did things that affected play. He never did things where you catch a deep pass and then you do your finger guns and you do a 15-yard penalty, which directly cost them points.
yes,
It's just insane. And what you said about teams know how to get him off his game, it's so simple. It's so true. He is so stupid that he doesn't realize that all they're doing is trying to get under his skin, and it works every single time. He's
yeah,
like he's like Evgeny Malkin of football.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's almost like I could see a coach saying, "Hey, you know what? Go out there, give him a cheap shot, take the 15-yard penalty because it's going to get him riled up for the rest of the game."
you don't even
You
need to
know?
do that. Just
Yeah,
just 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 push him or something like that, and he goes crazy.
right.
Um, Now the other thing I don't understand is he gets fined for those things. Punting the ball is like a $14,000 fine.
Yep.
Um, all these unsportsmanlike, all these things, these are fines, and I believe he is also fined internally. So he's on a rookie contract. He's not making that much, and he's just giving away money every week. And this it's just hopeless. And it is way too early to think about the future, but
Yeah,
he is on his last next year will be the last year of his rookie contract. And so you have a choice. You either extend him or you basically say, hey, that's it, dude. You could play 1 year with us and then that's it. If that's a scenario, I've heard this many times. If that's a scenario where they say, we're done with you after this year, you think he's bad now? He will be when he knows that he has no shot at a long-term contract here, he will be the worst human ever.
yeah, he'll be unbearable to deal with. Unless his agent or someone says to him, even one of the Steelers says, like, "Hey, man, if you want to make money, if you want to bank it, you better straighten up because you think all these teams are going to come in here just hand money, and some of them are going to be a little bit, shark bit. They're not going to want to do it." That's the thing. Like, what do you get from bringing him in? You get 15-yard penalties. You get, he might be suspended. You just don't know. He's such a wild card with a big mouth and a big attitude. Yeah, it's just, the kid, it was so infuriating because, and the other thing is, Joe, I don't think he gives a crap.
Yeah.
I don't think he reminds me a lot of Plex. All the talent in the world, just doesn't care.
He reminds me of Chase Claypool.
Yeah.
Same thing. Like they just think about themselves. And it's like you say, well, you know, Larry Fitzgerald didn't do this, or these other wide receivers didn't do this. I think it's honestly, I mean, I don't know how he was raised, but I guarantee his entire life he was never told no. You think about it, he probably has had like all world talent since he was like in middle school. He's probably, sixth, seventh, eighth grade. They recognize that he was like, he's going to be amazing. High school, I'm sure and they just let him do whatever he wants. And it's just unbelievable. Oh, I actually have breaking news regarding this.
Go for it.
He unfollowed the Steelers on Instagram. This is the president has been informed, and we are at DEFCON 3 right now. We are on full alerts. Um, the F-16s have been launched in preparation for any retaliation about this earth-shattering news. But I hate when like how do you even know that someone unfollowed an account? Like you have to be constantly monitoring stuff like that.
Yeah, there's got to be some. Well, I mean, these places hire these social media people to watch that stuff. I mean, yeah, that's there's an intern from Pitt or Duquesne right now. I guarantee you, sitting at KDKA or WTA or whatever, and they're following that kind of crap. And yeah, uh, again, who cares? But again, that's just the immaturity level. It's just the immaturity level that he has, and it's one of those things where uh, he has all the talent in the world. He was arguably at times, Joe, the best receiver on that field, and that's saying a lot with who was on
Yeah,
that
with
field.
Chase and
Yep.
Higgins on there. Yeah, he
And
was he was very good. Yeah.
and look, I'm not look, I like a guy with a little I like a Heinz Ward. I like a little feisty. I like an Antonio Brown. I'm not saying you have to be Larry Fitzgerald, but just could you imagine what the kid could be like if he just calmed down? And I feel like honestly, I feel that affects guys like uh, with Porter. JPJ had an epically bad game yesterday. Epically bad game. Um, you got basically 2 penalties in 1 play. How do you do that?
That's impressive.
I mean, and I just the only thing difference is he's there saying, "I need to fix it. I was wrong." And you hope that some coach or somewhere along the line, Terrell Austin, whoever you are out there, sophomore slump, whatever, you correct this, fix this, because this is the same kid that just last year was shutting these guys down like Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase didn't do crap against the Steelers last year, not very much. And it's largely because he shut him down when a lot of guys couldn't. And those are veterans in the league. The talent's there. At least I feel like he's embracing that he knows he's messing up. And I believe in him that'll fix it. I think George Pickens is pretty much a lost cause. Unless he totally has some epiphany or attitude change, you're seeing what you're going to get with George Pickens.
Here's how bad it was with George Pickens. Broderick Jones of all people ran over him to try to calm him down. Broderick Jones, who's has had his own issues, is
Yes,
tried
you.
to is trying to calm him down. But about Joey Porter Jr., I think I think there's a combination of things going on there. First of all, the refs. I think the refs were out to get him. This is a ref crew that loves being on TV and loves throwing flags and loves showing everybody that these games are not about the players or the coaches. It's about the refs. It's a ref show. I think that was part of it, but also part of it is Joey Porter Jr. That's just the kind of player he is. It's the kind of player he was at Penn State. He is a guy he's gonna get physical. He's a press corner. He's going to get physical. But there were times yesterday where he just went way overboard. I remember there was one pass that was not even close to being caught, and they threw a flag on Joey Porter Jr. and it's like, oh my God, what's wrong with these refs? It's like, no, Joey Porter just destroyed the
Right.
guy. Um,
Yeah. This is the
it-
same referee crew that when they were in Munich, Germany, he was calling the penalties out in German when he was
yeah,
announcing it at the
yeah.
stadium. I mean,
Look at
give
me,
me
look at me, look
yeah,
at me.
give me a
Like, come
break,
on.
dude. That's where like I've always very supportive of referees and what they go through, especially at the amateur level and stuff like that. When you get to the NFL, you would think you realize it's not about you, dude. It's just not. And yeah, so I mean that was frustrating. So it seems like it's very little this year, Joe, as it is with the Steelers. We can't just have a fascinating win where they go in and blow up the Bengals 44-14. It's got to be 44-38. There's got to be a little drama. I mean, the Bengals, and I think you and I like said at the same time yesterday on Twitter. This game, it was like 8 minutes ago, and you and I are like, this game isn't over yet. I mean,
Everybody was acting like it was over,
yeah,
including
no,
I
no,
think the
no.
Steelers, and they just let the Bengals score like in 2 minutes. It's like, this isn't over, people.
Yep. Yeah, if the
You
Bengals
know,
had a defense, they'd be the best team in at least our
oh
division.
God, oh my
If they had a
God,
defense, they'd be better than us. They'd be better than Ravens. They'd definitely be better than the Browns. Um, yeah, and they just don't, and
it's
that's
it's not just that they have a bad defense, it's that they have an absolute moron calling this defense, or whatever. The first 10 minutes of the game, every time the Steelers had the ball, Russell Wilson just looked out and said, the middle of the field is absolutely wide open, and I have a running back that nobody's covering. I'm just going to give it to him over and over and over again.
yep.
What did Najee get for his turn? Like
Oh,
that's
it
it
was
was,
16
it's like,
carries, 75 yards, and he had 6 catches for 54.
yeah,
He had a heck of a great game.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's like how idiotic are they? And they did the same exact thing last year. Pat Fryermuth better send the Cincinnati Bengals a Christmas card, because every time he plays the Bengals in Cincinnati, he has a career game. It's
yeah,
comical how
and
bad that defense is.
that's what you wanna see out of him, like a 6 catch, 65-yard, 1 or 2 touchdown game. That's what you want out of a tight end. That was perfect. If he can start giving that every week, he's worth that $12 million. So yeah, that's what you wanna see. That was one thing I kinda made a note of. It's like, okay, let's see if you can do this next week, or at least once or twice over the coming weeks. That's what he needs. And honestly, it was a combination of he got himself open and the Bengals couldn't cover him. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, no, that was good. And then yeah, so I mean, offensively, I don't know how you can complain. They dotted every I, crossed every T. I don't. The interception doesn't happen if Pickens falls down. So that was just bit of circumstance. But yeah, the receiving, even Van Jefferson had a great catch because nobody was pointing this out on TV. Uh, that throw was behind him. He had to go back off his left hip to bring that pass in, and then that was a key first down for them on
Yeah.
a third down. Van Jefferson was great, and yeah, I mean everything was very very good.
Here's how things are now. Calvin Austin got knocked out he's dealing with a concussion thing, and we're like, oh crap, we lost Calvin Austin. He's actually a vital part of this receiving core. Um,
Right,
but it is what he threw to 10 different receivers, but not Mike Williams. I don't
but
know
not
what.
Mike Williams. Right,
So weird.
right.
He
Yeah,
threw to
not
Ben Skowronek, got a pass before
for
Mike Williams
23 yards.
for 23 yards. Good for him.
Yeah, Michael Pruitt.
Michael.
Darnell Washington. I mean, yeah.
Uh,
So I don't know what's going on with Michael Williams. Maybe you got to watch Hard Knocks, which I totally kind of forgot about until yesterday they played, which I think has got to be one of the funnier things I've ever seen in my life with Mike Tomlin and Broderick Jones. Like, shut your ass up, get your ass in here. Like, I
hey,
mean,
hey, coach, are you mic'd?
are you Mike?
Tomlin absolutely hates everything about Hard Knocks
Oh
and
yeah.
being mic'd and all that. He hates that stuff.
Which is
And,
why I think Broderick Jones was surprised,
yeah, yeah. It's like,
and because I think that if you watch the full video, I've only seen it once. Like the first part of it, he's over there and he's like, "Get this, crap off me." He isn't saying crap, and like he wasn't happy, and they were getting obvious. Matt was there, and then and then he's like, "Shut up, get your ass in here." I mean, like, that was so great, and in a way, a little endearing with Broderick Jones being kind of like I don't know, kind of a big goofy dog or something, or a
yeah,
big
yeah.
kid, I guess. And he wasn't bad yesterday. He had a decent game. The offensive line, not bad. Hard to do that again. Hard to judge that against a Bengals defensive line. It's crap. But you know, uh,
Uh, uh, okay, but Hendrickson for Cincinnati is, I think, the league leader in
he
sacks.
did, and Dan Moore did a great job on
Shut
him.
him down.
Shut him down yesterday. That's a really good point. Dan Moore completely shut him down yesterday. Hats off to Dan Moore, who's also in a contract, year right now.
Yeah, yep.
So that's something the Steelers have to deal with. And yeah, who knows? It's very interesting how these two teams might look next year. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I mean, I don't know. What I mean, I heard something this morning I talked to, which I thought was hilarious. What if the Steelers said, you know what, we know you're in your last year of your rookie contract. What if we trade you and all your drama, George Pickens, and they get like a Jamar Chase or a T. Higgins? And I mean, that would be
Okay.
T. Higgins has a little bit of drama. Jamar Chase is a pretty good guy, from what I've seen.
I think, yeah, but like they're not even on the same solar system as Pickens. They're not even. I think any drama related to Jamar Chase or T Higgins is just related to, hey, would you please pay me? You stupid idiot organization. I think
Right.
that's all. I think they're good. But when they asked Tomlin about Joey Porter Jr. and all his penalties, he said he basically just just complimented the hell out of T. Higgins. He's like, T. Higgins is a goon. And that's like Mike Tomlin speak for like that's like a high compliment for him. Basically saying he's an extremely physical wide receiver and we wanted to match his physicality where we were not going to back down from it. Okay, fine. All I'm thinking is, sure would be nice to have someone like that on our team.
Sure would. Sure would.
Um,
Yeah, I think it's evident one of them ends up, I don't know where, one of them probably ends up with the Cowboys. We'll
probably.
see. But no, um, no, then you look at us defensively. I wasn't crazy about 38 points, but that offense is so good. They almost remind you like those mid to late 80s Dolphins teams, right? With Marino and Mark Duper and Mark Clayton and all these prolific people, and yet the defense sucked so bad the Dolphins were only ever maybe barely in the playoffs or 8-8, right? Um, I love Dan Marino, but you kind of would have wished if they ever would have had a defense.
Yeah.
And that's right now what the Bengals are facing. And I think the difference back then, Joe, was I think there was a little bit more parity in the league where the Dolphins were able to get by. But if you don't have a good defense in the NFL, you're going to get smoked, and that's why the Bengals are sitting there at 4-8 right now. And I think they're 1-5 at home or something. I mean, it's horrible.
Joe
So
Burrow is having an MVP caliber season
yes, he is
and it's being thrown away. Um,
garbage.
like we just said, Chase or Higgins will be probably gone next year, and that wonderful offense that they had will be gone. Will be done. They won't get anybody as good. And because we've seen anytime like Jamar Chase or Higgins are not playing, the offense is much worse for the Bengals. So they're gonna screw it up because they're a dumb organization. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Joe
Yep.
Burrow is one of his best years ever is being wasted, and the Steelers tried like hell to get to him, and they just couldn't. Anytime they would try to sack him, he would just find a way out of it, and then he did a jump pass for a touchdown one time. It was just it was incredible. He had an amazing game, but hey, Russell Wilson matched him.
Yeah, Russell Wilson definitely came to play. He looked fantastic. I mean, that looked like what we used to have with Ben. You throw for 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. Yeah, there was a pick in there, but 80 QBR rating, 80.5, I think it was. He looked great. He really did. And I think that's where, like, hopefully they can pull us all together and ride that same train against the Browns, because this is what they should have done against the Browns defense. It's not, frankly, very good. Um, and maybe to what his point, maybe what Pickens is trying to say, I don't know. Did that weather make a difference? Maybe. I there's a lot of things, but I think if you're right about them being up for this game, it's not the offense that's got to be up. It's the defense that's got to be up. And this is where honestly you call out TJ Watt, because Miles Garrett was the best player on the field that night. He showed you up. He talked smack afterwards. I think there's two schools of thought to that. He deserved to talk that way. He can walk the walk too. If you're that good, you don't really have to say it. So there's whatever you want to say about Miles Garrett and his attitude. But uh, I would hope that TJ Watt, and he hasn't been lately, is steamed and really up for that game. And, you know, like you said, Joe, they shouldn't have lost that game. That stings. And, you don't want to be 9-4 and have two of those losses against the Browns for some reason.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so if they go 10-3, I'm not sure who the Ravens play next week.
Nobody. They're on a bye.
Oh, they're on a bye. Okay. Then, yeah, I mean, you're really in the driver's seat. You're really in the
Yeah.
driver's seat.
Yeah. Um, I think TJ Watt had an okay game. I mean, 2 sacks. He did cause
Yeah.
that fumble.
Yep.
But one thing that they did do in this past game is they moved him around a little bit. He
Yes,
wasn't
they did.
just stuck in the same place, and I like that.
Thankfully.
I think they need to do that more.
Yep.
Um, I yeah, I like
Deshaun
that. I don't
Elliott,
know.
another big game. And I'm liking Deshaun Elliott, Joe, is starting to get a little bit of tenacity to him, too. He's not afraid to push and shove a little bit. He's not afraid to kind of talk some smack. He's backing up with great play. He not only led the team in tackles yesterday, he led them in solo tackles.
Yeah.
Patrick Queen is still climbing up now. He's looking like the guy we thought he would be. Yeah, no, Cam Hayward looked good. There was a lot of things that look good. It's just you're going against that offense, and if they, it's always different because they're playing a different team. But if they play the Browns the way they did this Sunday, I see no reason why they don't put 30 up on the Browns. And let's just see. What I would like to see is they keep them to under 20. They should be able to do that.
I think it's reasonable.
Yeah,
I think it's
it should
reasonable.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, Joe, you go in there with a 2-game winning streak into that top part of the schedule, and it's a little bit easier.
Yeah, I think the the Eagles game is a guaranteed loss. I don't
Hmm.
that's just yeah, and the Eagles are just man, they're just
Uh,
if they're not in the Super Bowl, it's either basically the NFC title game right now is going to be Lions versus Eagles because it's and that's going to be amazing. I think they play each other in a week or two or something like that. But
I think they do too. And I think you're right. I mean, there are some other good teams. Anything can happen. I understand that, but that probably should be the game. Um, and the AFC, though, I feel it's probably the Bills and whoever else. Could be us, could be the Ravens, could be the Chiefs. Um, I don't know. I'm sure the NFL referees will do their damnedest to get the Chiefs there.
oh my
It's
God,
just been it's
oh my
it's
God.
so I'm not that guy. Sometimes, Joe, I am that guy. It's like, really, and so yeah. I mean, they almost lost to the Panthers for God's sakes. So when you're
Right.
almost losing to the Panthers, you can't tell me that the Chiefs are going to come in here Christmas Day and walk all over us. I think we have a very good chance of beating Kansas City on Christmas Day. I really do. If the fact we weren't playing like 4 days earlier against the Ravens.
Right.
I mean, that could be our only two minute. Couldn't have been the Panthers. It couldn't have been, the Jaguars or,
Yeah.
somebody like that. It's got to be the Ravens. So that we'll have that going against us too.
I think the Ravens game is just a coin toss. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they have their own problems.
They do.
Uh they have the worst kicker in the league, which is, something I would never say about Justin Tucker, but that dude got problems.
He is the Steve Blass right now of the NFL. I mean, it's just, and you made a very good point a few weeks ago. You're saying he's only 34,
Yeah,
and
he's
kicker,
not old. It's not an age thing.
yeah, in kicker years, that's young.
That's young, yeah. Yeah,
That's very
I
young.
don't know what's going on there.
So
I mean,
yeah. I mean, yeah. Actually, if you look at that score, we're talking about the Eagles being world beaters, but you give Baltimore 6 points, and they win that game.
right.
And it's the point, right?
Those field goals and point and PATs he missed were extremely crucial. It's not like it was a blowout. It just seemed that way. But
So, and Harbaugh was saying, well, we're not going to make a change there. We're not doing that. And if that's the case, then you have no
right.
choice to start scoring touchdowns. So, I mean, I don't know if this bye week they may be working on their 2-point conversions for all we know. Because
Could be.
we
Could be
sure
go
set
for it
them up
every time on
well.
fourth down, regardless what it is. Fourth and 15, gotta go for it. I don't care because we can't trust our kicker. It might come down to that.
Right. Yep.
Oh
So,
my goodness.
yeah,
But
yeah, other than that, who knows, Joe, but it was again, it was 44 points was great. You're going up against good defense, tall order, but the penalties and some of the other stuff was I would just love a clean game where we could just, beat a team by 15 or 20 points.
I mean, that could have been a loss. Um, they make it 44-38, and they do an onside kick. And now we know onside kicks are basically jokes anyway. I mean, they're
You gotta
hardly
tell 'em.
anybody. Yeah,
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 they're
you have to tell them, yeah. And
so
but
stupid.
but the Steelers get the ball, and there's still like I don't know a couple minutes left or something like that, and they have like a 3rd and 6 or whatever, and then they put in Justin Fields, and it worked perfectly. Like
Did you see where he slid? He was like 4 yards past it when he slid down. It was
he
great.
made no he made absolutely sure this time that he slid correctly.
He made damn well sure, that he did that. You're right. Yeah, and that's the thing. He did do it right. They brought him in the right time this time. Zach Frazier had a little bit of a better game. The hard thing is what's the measuring stick, right? Because Zach Frazier had a horrible game against the Browns.
Yeah.
That's another guy going into Sunday who's got to be up for that game because he got
See,
embarrassed.
that's what I think. I think they're going to have such a better game because they got so embarrassed the last time. TJ Watt got embarrassed. The offensive line got embarrassed. Everybody,
Yeah,
it was just an embarrassing thing. And it's like, oh, okay, good. We get to make up for it 2 weeks after it happened when it's fresh in our minds. Perfect.
right. Yeah, it's good that it wasn't like week 3 and then week 14 or something. Yeah, no, you're good. That's a good point too. And yeah, and the other guy yesterday that really, looked good is Najee. I mean, now he's what 4 years in a row over 1,000 purpose yards. You are starting to wonder, and I think you and I kind of agreed on this in the beginning of the season. They should have given him the 2-year extension.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't come back to bite them because Jalen Warren's to me, is still a very nice substitute. But Najee, I know he dances a little bit, dances a little bit too much for me too. But Najee sees the field so much better than Jalen Warren does. And I just hope that one doesn't come back to bite us in the butt because he's heating up. He's getting better as the season's gone on, and he could be a big part of winning against the Browns.
They're a perfect 1-2 punch. They're
Mhm.
perfect. They're perfect. They perfectly complement each other. Um, Najee is at 824 yards rushing, so he's gonna get his 1,000 yards. I
Again,
mean, what more do you want from someone? He's not Saquon Barkley, but then again, who is?
right? Who is
He's just a good all-purpose guy. He's now he's making catches. Um, it's all working. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is, and that's the thing. So, I mean, he's been great. I've been happy with him. The other thing I made a note of, I saw, so TJ Watt now is only one behind Greg Lloyd for most forced fumbles in Steelers history. That's
Wow.
that's pretty impressive considering the company that you keep on that. With all the guys that are in Canton that wear black and gold, and Greg Lloyd probably won't ever get in, but he probably I always maintain that he should. But he probably won't. But Greg Lloyd was so good at that, just bringing that uppercut at the last minute, pop so many balls out that way. And yeah, you just hope that TJ Watt continues that. But he was the TJ Watt we expected and needed, and hopefully we get that same TJ Watt in another week here.
But that's just it. You know, we say the defense had a bad game and they gave up all these touchdowns, but they also forced a fumble. They also forced a fumble that turned into a defensive score. They also caused an interception. They caused a turnover. Even when they were giving up touchdowns and stuff, they still were able to not stop them, but slow them down a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, that to me, it's like how hard you want to be on them because they've scored 30 points other than week 1 against the Patriots, which is horrible. They only lost to the Chiefs by 1, the Bengals did. They scored 33 against the Panthers, so 33, 24. They put up so the Ravens won that game 41-38. Same as this almost, right? They've put up 30 points the majority of their games. You have 41 against the Raiders, 34 in a loss to the Ravens again. So they scored over 30 points both times against the Ravens. I mean, it's they're good. Their
Yeah.
offense is right up there with everybody else. It's like wasn't like Tecmo Bowl, like they would have the Rays like you would have like the Dolphins and they would score, but they'd give up like 50
Yeah.
points. I mean it's just like that. It's so I I'm not saying that 30 points is great, but you can give the Steelers, I think, a little bit of a hey, everybody's giving up 30 points almost to the Bengals every game this year. The Ravens did it twice. So I wouldn't hang your head too low because that offense is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah. Uh, maybe the Browns aren't that bad. I mean, they're only losing by 4 to Denver right now in the middle of the third quarter. So I don't know. It's 21-17 right now, Broncos in Denver. So I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I think still Steelers kind of owe them one,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And hopefully George Pickens just leaves it out on the field because I think if he does, I think he'll be great. I think he could have a big game. That's the thing too. It's frustrating with him. Like I put up a poll earlier. Which frustrated you more, Pickens or Joey Porter Jr.? For me, it's Pickens because I think Joey Porter Jr.'s stuff can be corrected, and he acknowledges it and he strives to be better. And to your point, some of those calls were a little iffy. They were quick on the trigger, and to me, it's just like I wish Pickens would just take, let's say, the next 4 games. I'm just going to go out there, be me, do what I do. And I bet you he would be absolutely blown away by what he does. I think he could be the best receiver in the NFL over the next
Just
month
be
if
a
he would have did that.
professional. That's
Yeah.
it. Just,
Yeah.
his teammates are begging him, please stop being an idiot. His coaches, the organization, everybody's begging him, please stop being an idiot. Now, we already have a history here. They played Cleveland before.
Yeah.
And when they played him, they totally, I mean, heck, that Hail Mary play, instead of trying to go for the ball, he was fighting a player in the stands.
Right.
Uh, that Cleveland is going to try to get under his skin. Just
Yeah.
don't react to it. Be a professional. Just ignore it.
That was no worse
This
than that guy from the Bears taunting the crowd while the play
right.
is going on. He gets beat for the Hail Mary pass, and which I think eventually was part of the reason that the Bears coach was fired the next day after mismanaging the clock so bad on Thanksgiving. Hey, we've been doing it for 18 years here, and we didn't get fired. But yeah, no,
Well,
yeah, that's just the thing, Joe. Because when you look at those games coming up too, Cleveland, Baltimore, Kansas City, if they were to win some of those games, his play, his capability, his skill level is such he could be the difference in the reason they win those games.
yeah,
He sure as sugar can be the reason they lose those games too
yeah.
because of his mouth. They have enough problems to worry about, without George Pickens going out there and being, childish. So yeah, yep, for sure.
We'll see. We'll see. It's
We'll
going to
see.
be
We shall.
interesting. All right, man. 9-3. My
Nine and
goodness.
three, not bad.
Love it. I love
Yep.
it.
All right, Joe.
All right, sir. Have a good one.
Good Steeler talk. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll see you.
You too.